Boy, have I seen a lot of crazy things during med school interviews. My name is Dr. Jen Caudle. I'm a practicing family physician. I'm also an on-air health expert and video creator, but I am also an associate professor at a medical school. That's right, Rowan University School of Osteopathic Medicine. I have been an associate professor, well, a professor at a med school at least for the last 10 plus years. And in my early days at Rowan SOM, I also sat on the admissions committee and interviewed students for admission. That's when we were actually called UMD&J School of Osteopathic Medicine, name change thing. Anyway, I'm a DO, an osteopathic physician, and faculty at an osteopathic medical school. And I sat in on plenty of admissions committee meetings and interviews with students, and I really, really enjoyed that process. But I saw along the way a number of things that students were doing that really kind of irked me that I thought I would come and talk to you guys about. Oh, by the way, also, I am also a clerkship director for the third year family medicine clerkship right now. I have been for 10 years. So I'm actively working with students, medical students, that is, all the time. Also medical residents as I precept them in the office in addition to seeing patients and TV stuff. And, the first mistake that I'm going to mention is actually one that almost irks me more than anything else. And it's something I have experienced a lot being a faculty member at a DO school, being a DO physician myself, an osteopathic physician. DOs, there are still fewer osteopathic physicians than there are allopathic physicians, and there are fewer osteopathic medical schools than allopathic medical schools. And with that comes some people just don't quite understand or know what osteopathic medicine is and what it means. But beyond that, let me just get to the crux of what I cannot stand is basically when a student comes for their interview and you get the sense and you quickly realize that they actually don't know what makes your school unique and different. And they may not know much about your school at all. I mean, look, we get it. You're interviewing hopefully at many different places because we want you to be successful. You've likely applied to a lot of places. It's very competitive, so we get all of that. But the truth of the matter is, it's kind of like when you go on a date for the first time. You want to feel like the person you're on a date with, remembered your name, even if you did meet online. You want to feel like they remembered your name or remembered something that you guys chatted about in the chat before you met in person. Well, it's the same thing when you get together for your medical school interview. It's really, really tough for me when I see that students really don't know much about my school or the school that they're interviewing for. And it's not that I ask questions to trick them or that we do that. I actually genuinely want to know why here? Why us? Why this school? Why do you want to come here? Why do you want to be an osteopathic physician in the case of my situation? But whether it's allopathic or osteopathic, if you don't know much about the school, what makes it different? That's going to be a big problem. And that will become readily apparent immediately. And there's nothing that turns you off. Think about when you go on a date. When a person doesn't seem to know much about you when they should, it's a turnoff because it makes you feel like perhaps they're not interested or we're not interested enough to invest time to understand what the school is about. Of course, you don't have to know everything about the school, but even a couple things like some of the programming that the school offers. Does the school offer joint degrees? If so, which ones? Did that interest you? What's the student body makeup? Is there a sort of a focus of the school? I mean, whatever the case may be, we want to know that you not only just want to get to medical school, but that you're interested in our university and why. Okay. Next thing is that's sort of a pet peeve and something that's a no-no for med school interviews is not having answers to questions to explain either gaps in your resume or maybe grades that may be not as stellar as others or board scores or things like that. You need to be prepared to have an answer for them. Now, you may not be asked about them. And by the way, if this is you, because this is not every student, but we would often see students, because remember, getting into med school, there's not a formula, meaning, it's possible to get into med school without being top or first in your class. That's possible. It's possible to get into med school with a grade that was not as stellar as the rest. But should that be the case, make sure you have an explanation for it. Okay, that D that you got in physics, should you have the opportunity to sit at that interview table, you want to be able to explain how, why that happened, what you learned from that, what your goals are moving forward, what you took from it, how you approached it. I want to hear about it, help me understand maybe this inconsistency or this sort of outlier on your resume or in your history. It doesn't have to be a grade. It could be your path. Why did you decide to work out in the career force for 10 years before coming to med school? Whatever it is that may be considered a little bit non-conventional or unconventional or maybe not typical, just be prepared to explain, okay? Number 3, cliches are tough. Don't use them, okay? Why do you want to be a doctor? I just want to help people. Lord Jesus, have mercy. Blah. Well, we all want to help people. We do. Really, that's actually why pretty much everybody became a doctor. So we can probably guess that that's what you want. It's not that the answer is bad. It's just that the answer doesn't tell us much about you. Because the truth be told is so many of us actually feel that way. So help me know about you. I need to go a few layers deeper than that. Because I can guarantee you that someone else on that day that I've been interviewing has said the same thing. So tell me a story about an experience that you had or that happened to someone else that changed how you thought about things. Tell me something. Help me understand what helped you realize how much you wanted to help people. So avoid the cliches, okay? And understand that they're cliches because they're used widely. So give us more. Give us you. And you are not a cliche. I can promise you that. All right, next one. Along those lines, 4th pet peeve is when people don't use examples. Use examples. Don't just say, I participate in a lot of extracurriculars and I love, spending time with people. No, tell me what curriculars. Of course, I have your resume, but I want to hear what was it about the gospel choir that you love so much. Tell me about what going overseas on your orchestra tour did for you. Give me examples because you know what? That's going to help me remember you when I leave you and when you leave me. It's going to help me be able to paint a picture of who you are, what's important to you. Give me examples. Paint me a picture. Okay. So if you can think in terms of examples and stories that will infinitely help your interviewers really place you and really get a sense of who you are and see you in 3D and in color. All right. And I would say the last one is not knowing who you're interviewing with. You don't have to know everything about me, but it's kind of like going on a date. Like we talked about with med schools, you want to have an idea of who your interviewers are. Make sure you found out. Maybe if you don't know, that's okay too. I mean, if the school wasn't able to tell you who you're interviewing with, but do your best to find out who you're interviewing with. Find out what their specialty is. Find out what their area of research is. Because nothing shows that you are interested and you care than knowing about the people you are sitting down having a conversation with. That is not just, it's not about being fake. And I want to be very clear about that. It's called professionalism. That is you trying to have a productive encounter with someone else who happens to be evaluating you for med school. But one of the ways you have a productive encounter is you prepare. So prepare for your meeting. Learn about the school. Learn about the people you're meeting with, not to suck up and be fake, but to have a productive discussion so you can take things to the next level. And I promise you that will not only help you stand out, but will really show your true colors and will tell us who you are, which is ultimately what you want. Guys, I'm Dr. Jen Caudle, practicing family physician, on-air health expert, and video creator. If you've not subscribed to my channel, click the little bell for updates. I do videos on med student stuff, pre-med stuff, residency stuff, but I also do videos for the general public on health stuff, COVID, and you name it. So please subscribe, guys. Love y'all. See you soon.